Can you hand me my drink? I actually decided I would like that.
Is this yours?
Yes, yes.
Fabulous.
Because, thank you.
You're welcome.
Because this story, like so many of my stories, has to do with poop.
Yes.
Uh, um, and for those of you who don't know, I've been having some GI trouble. It has been ongoing all of my life, but the severity of it has really increased over the last few years. When Kyle and I hiked the Appalachian Trail, I picked up an intestinal parasite that we didn't know I had and that I lived with for like 2 years before it got treated. And so that, when you have a little friend living inside you, kind of fucks up all your insides. And so, you know, that, like, and it has gotten so bad lately that I haven't really been able to leave the house because, you know, I'm spending hours on the toilet at a time. And we're working on it. We're starting to get it figured out because I actually like my doctor. You know, that Obamacare thing is really nice. Thanks, Obama. But yeah, so I really like my doctor, and we're going, and we're trying to figure out like what's wrong and how to kind of recover, because your gut is a very sensitive thing, and once it gets out of whack, it can be really hard to get it back on track. All the healthy flora and fauna that live there. So this took place, this incident took place, I think before we figured out like what was going on, before we figured out that I had a parasite, and we had a rehearsal space over in East Akron. It was the building that Sage Lewis uses for his homeless charity, and everything they do over there. We were sort of the first homeless people that moved in. But it was a rehearsal space. It was a homeless theater company. And he's doing some incredible work, if you don't know. So we had this beautiful space that we were able to create. We're so thankful to Sage for that. But this day, I was having some stomach troubles, some grumbly in the bellies, right? And Kyle and I, we were going to have rehearsal. And before that, we had dinner, because rehearsal is like 7 to midnight, 7 to 11. This is disgusting. So we had just went to Dave's Market, which is right there, and we had done some shopping to get some groceries for dinner. And we're walking around Dave's. You know, I'm starting to feel things starting to move, right? And you just hear the gurgle. You're like, okay. Gurgle. You're like shopping down the aisle. You're like, oh, you know, fruit, gurgle. And I was like, okay, I really gotta go. But, you know, this public restroom thing, like I'm kind of skeeved out by it. You never know what you're gonna find when you're in there. So I was like, okay, I really gotta go, but I think that I can make it. Like, our rehearsal space is right basically across the street, and we can finish shopping, and then we can get to the rehearsal space, and I can go poop in private. not have to worry about anyone being around, not have to worry about what I find in the restroom. So we go through the checkout line, and we're starting to walk to the car, and all of a sudden I have to stop because it is so painful, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even move right now because I have to go. But the rehearsal space, it's right there, we can make it. And so finally you just like let it go, and it passes, and you're like, okay, I can walk. And Kyle's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you just like stopped in the middle of the aisle? And I was like, nothing, little buddy, it's okay, no worries. I'm all right. And we make it out to the parking lot. We're getting in the car, we put the groceries in, and it happens again where everything seizes up, and you're like, if I don't keep it all together right now, everything's gonna come out right here in the parking lot of Dave's Market. Kyle's like, what are you doing? Get in the car, it's time to go. And I'm like, just give me a second. Just give me 1 second. Okay, all right, now it has passed, I can get in the car. And we get to our rehearsal space, and you have to walk down this side alley, and then the doors on the side of the building. And it was one of those doors that that had a code on it, but the code didn't always work the first time. And at this point, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go. I'm like, I hiked the Appalachian Trail. Maybe I could just take a shit out here behind the building because I got to go, right? I just gotta go. And we get to the door, and I'm like, no, okay, we can make it. I can make it inside, and we input the code, and it doesn't work the first time. And I'm like, fuck. Try it again, and it doesn't work. I'm like, Kyle, get this door open. Kyle, get it open now. So Kyle inputs the code, and for whatever reason, it worked. And Kyle's like, what's the matter? What's the matter? And I'm like, nothing at all. Because you don't want to tell your partner, like, I gotta go take a shit. And so I'm running to the restroom like this, like, trying to just like keep your butt closed. So I run into the door, make it through the stairwell, turn, make it all the way through the auction space, through our rehearsal space, through the other stairwell, and like finally I'm in the restroom. And I start to, because I'm like, I got to go, so I'm like trying to rip things so I can go get to the toilet. And I'm in the restroom, tearing at my clothes to get them off, and just all of a sudden everything releases, right? Like I'm 2 feet from the toilet, and just everything lets go. And it was not just like one of those like a log came out. It was basically, it's a really small restroom, enough room for a toilet and a sink, and that's it. And the floor is totally covered in shit. It's running down my legs. Right? It's running down my legs. It's just wet. And like, in that moment too, right? Not everything fully came out either. So you're just like, do I just give up and shit here? Or am I an adult? And I just finish the rest of it on the toilet. I finished on the toilet, and I'm just like, my feet are covered in shit. The floor is covered, everything. I'm just like, just standing there like, okay, how? Just like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm standing there, and it was an inordinate amount of time where I think Kyle called to me and was like, Benji, are you all right? I'm just standing there, covered in my own shit on the floor, and I'm just like, yeah, everything's fine. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know where to begin cleaning this up. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward from this. If God loved me, he would just kill me now. And that's that. Like, I just can't handle this. Like, how am I supposed to tell my partner that I just shit my pants? And so, I'm just there. I don't even know how much time has passed because... And finally, I take some toilet paper because literally that was all there was. Toilet paper, 1-ply toilet paper. And I clean myself off enough that that it's not gross. And I walk out to the rehearsal space, not with any pants on. Kyle's like, what do you want? You want to have sex right now? I'm like, not today. But I need your help. And please don't judge me for what you're out to witness. Please don't. I love you so much. Please don't let this be why we divorce. I was like, what? It can't be that bad. Just please come. So I slowly walking back to the restroom, and I had shut the door, and I'm like, all right. This is really bad. This is probably the worst thing I've done in my whole life. And I'm like, and I open the door. And Kyle looks at it. And he's like, wow. You should probably clean this up. And I go, Kyle, I don't even know how. There's only the toilet paper. I don't even know where to begin. And Kyle, he's like, okay, here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna go out to our rehearsal space, get some towels. We have some paper towels. You're going to use that to clean up. Here's a plastic bag. You can put the clean up in the bag. Here's another bag for your clothes. Here's a pair of pants. And so, I start to clean it up, and I get it all cleaned up, and Kyle is like, okay, here's your pair of pants. Do you want to, how about we cancel rehearsal tonight, and we go home, and then you put your clothes in you rinse them off in our sink. At home we have a big wash sink. You wash them off, rinse them off there, put the clothes in the washer, and that's what we'll do. I was like, okay, wow, thank you for not judging me. It was like, for me, the first time that I was ever like, wow, this marriage thing, right? Thinking about being a pet owner, thinking about my friends' parents who were like, yeah, you just if your kid's throwing up, you just let them, sometimes they throw up on you and it's okay. And you still love them. And I'm like, I've never really understood how that happened. How do you just love something and still think it's beautiful and awesome after it shit all over the floor? And you had to witness that? And so I think it was the first time for me, of course, we've been in love, but it was the first time that I was ever like, wow, this person has seen me at my lowest point as an adult and still loves me and still finds me beautiful.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that about? But I love him, and I thank him for being able to help me through that, because I was like, I'm just gonna shut this bathroom door and walk away, and we'll never come back to this space again, we'll never talk to Sage, it'll be fine. But he walked me through it, he set me up, we went home, and he took care of me, and he still finds me beautiful. I don't know why, but thank you, Kyle.